you need some help, sir, we'd glad to offer some help if you need it.
Well, I know very little about these things.
If there's someone that would like to volunteer to help, I
Matter of
hope.
getting it cut on. Okay, now it's coming up. It's 7 minutes warm up. Okay, now, let's double click this thing. And it's supposed to come over to me. Yeah, I'm trying to double click this one right here. Turn the volume up.
Next item on the agenda is a rezoning request for Bristol Caverns Highway, 1465.
Can you hear?
Owner applicant is Max Castle, approximately 3.7 acres. The current county zone is B1. The request is to rezone that to a B3, according to the county's B3 zoning designation. Because this is a urban growth boundary rezoning, this commission will only be sending a recommendation to the county commission, not city council. We received additional information at our meeting with 11 comments not in favor of the rezoning and 1 in favor. Is that the sum total of that, Jeff? And it says in the information we have before us that the final action on this will be by the County Commission on November the 13th for those that are in attendance on this issue. Is there any additions or corrections to the material? Does any member of the public wish to speak or comment to the Planning Commission regarding this rezoning? Yes, ma'am. Please approach the podium and state your name and address for the record.
My name's April Trivett. I live at 710 BI Range Road.
Sir, we can move it to your comments, is what we've been promised.
I moved away, I can't buy it. That's where I've raised my children, just like my parents raised theirs.
Cut that off soon.
The land's in my family for generations. My great-grandfather bought 100 acres there, and they bought the DBA bought.
We need to move it to your specific comments, sir, is what we had agreed to.
So, I know it's going to be on our property tax.
Maybe that's what I said. My grandparents came, so you've got what I'm trying to say. My name's Ernest Castle. I live in 208 PI Range Road. I live in church. It's my residence. I did that because I wanted to come before this board and address it. And then I also say, I think you folks need an end of, what I'm trying to say is, I appreciate you guys in your time and your efforts and everything to help this state and city grow. Now, I could go on like this lady did. My family's been here in Bristol. I was born and raised on 14th Street for over 158 years. In 1920, my grandparents came from Russell County, Virginia. And they settled this, and Jake Tranquil owns 1,000 acres in my end of town over there. So I'm not going very on like that. You know, things change. We change every week. We change every day. So folks, appreciate the job you do. And you got to decide what's best for the county, what's best for the city, and what's best for the area. Now, all these things are important. And once it's zoned or once it's residential, I'll be paying taxes on it this year. First time anybody's paid taxes on it in 68 years. And also, you've got to think about everybody in the county, not just a few people in the county. The change comes about for everybody. If it hadn't been for the changes that you guys about it or anything, if what you're doing, take a look at it, what it be, how it benefit the county. You have inside storage, it's 7 rooms, and it's 6,000 square feet sitting there doing nothing. It would be developed. It'd be taxes come off of it. It'd be places for people to go to have inside storage. They would have controlled atmosphere. It's got 3-phase heating in that area. I mean, that's something that the city of Bristol, you know, enjoys. Being able to have it for different areas of the county, for different things. And I'm not going to take much more of your time, because I feel like you guys are going to do what's right and what's best for the city and the county. Not what's best for me. It's a good bit needed to have some of my investment needs realized and grow. Thank you for listening. And I hope I haven't made anybody upset or mad. I didn't set out to do that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone else, ma'am?
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Castle? Floor is open for discussion.
I'm not done talking.
I understand. Mr. Castle, any other comments you wish to make? And there's some other folks that wish to speak on the same amendment as well. Let's be mindful of that.
Okay. Can I talk as long as if a question comes up in my mind that they're talking about, and I can answer it?
We'll just have to take that as it comes. If there's a clarifying question that we need, we'll be sure to ask you, sir. If that, but once we have our hearing, we're going to have to start moving along. And I appreciate everybody's discretion.
Like I said the other day, when I went down here to this meeting, there's a whole lot of opposition to it. There was 120 people signed petitions, or not petitions, but signed that they didn't want it changed. But change comes, and I've heard the situation is that it's spot zone, but whatever else it could be. How could whatever else would qualify in this, in any of your zonings, in my situation. See what I'm saying? In other words, the residential wouldn't apply. I couldn't even put storage buildings inside my building, could I? Question for the commission.
Does anyone have any questions? And I'll tell you what we'll do. I'm going to recognize other folks, and since you are the property owner, at the end of that, if you have anything you'd like to clarify, we'll allow it, but we can't have any back and forth debate between the public. So if there's anyone else that would like to speak to this amendment, okay, we have a few. I'll start. I'm going to start on this side of the room. Ma'am, yes, ma'am. If you will just introduce yourself and who else was it? And I'll recognize you again that y'all come up.
My name's April Truitt. I live at 17 V.I. Ranch Road, and I'm the one that has the petition. I don't know if y'all would like to see if there's 150 signatures on there, but they're all validated. My family has lived on that road for generations, and it's home for me. It's history, it's roots. I'm not going to take up a lot of time, but I want to share something with the board. Many people in our community have seen firsthand what's happening on the property is already affecting people on the Ranch Road on an emotional level. Seeing the church's cross thrown in a burn pile, ready to be destroyed, was heartbreaking, disrespectful to the faith and the community this area is built on, I believe, and a lot of other people do too. That church has stood there for almost, what's been there 70 years, and that's one heck of a way to become part of the community that values family, faith, and respect. There's churches on nearly every corner in this county, and that's for a reason. Faith matters here, obviously. And so, as of today, I've gathered 150 signatures from people on VI Ranch Road, Springdale, Henson, Cold Springs, the surrounding areas. All of them saying we do not want it zoned B3 commercial. The owner has not provided a valid plan, a firm plan of what he intends to build. So once the property becomes B3, it's not limited to a gas station or a storage unit. It's whatever B3 opens the door to. It's commercial business. I don't know. Could it be adult stores? I don't know. We don't know because there's not a plan. And then after it's zone B3, I guess he never would have to come back to the board for approval again. Then the risk, that's the risk we're being asked to live with out in that area. And on top of that, the entrance is already dangerous with poor visibility. Adding to commercial traffic only makes it more unsafe for families, schools, emergency vehicles. And that road's heavily used by motorcycles and professional bicyclists. There's one on my petition that's spoke against that because it's a quite safe area and they like to ride through there. But anyway, we're just simply asking that the property remain the zoning it's meant for, to keep our roads safe, quiet, residential, the way it has been. And that's okay. Everything doesn't have to change. Not everything has to change. Not everything's bad. So please, to stand with people who actually live there, protect our community, protect our families. We deserve to feel safe on our own road. And at the end of the day, this is our home. It's not a commercial strip for someone else's profit, tax money. We are the ones who live there, and we live the consequences.
Your photo, could you have a copy that we could have?
You can have these. Thank you.
Sir? Mr. Castle, I'm gonna let the other folks, I'm gonna give you the final word.
Well, I'm going to answer each one individually, sir, if you permit me to cross that.
Let's keep it the way we agreed to.
Well, I didn't know I was going to agree to have to remember everything everybody said, but I can answer that question about that cross, sir. She showed me the picture. The neighbor next door.
We've got to keep it running smooth.
Well, can we just,
Sir, don't put me in this spot, sir.
well,
I'm
now
gonna ask.
to me, sir, you're rushing the meeting.
I'm not rushing the meeting,
Well,
sir.
let me answer.
At this point, you're stalling the meeting. So I'm going to allow the gentleman to speak, and then I'm going to allow you the final word at the end. I promise you, sir. Wherever Sir, if you will introduce yourself.
Billy Greer Jr. I just bought the property, the house at 1403 Brewster Caverns, but I've lived in that area all my life. I've got family that lives on VI Ranch Road. I've got family all over that area. The reason why we live in the valley is because it's the valley. It's no businesses other than what's on 394, which is where the 4-lane is. That's where the business needs to stay, not out in the residential areas where our kids play, ride their bikes, our dogs play, all of our animals run around. You know, it's just been something that's tranquil, relaxing, and it's our haven. Start putting businesses in our haven, and things are going to get upset. It's just going to uproot everything. You know, we don't need no business out there in the valley on a residential road.
Sir, if you could you state your name for the electronic record?
Billy Greer Jr.
Billy Greer. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. One of the other folks. I saw hands. I didn't see faces. Ma'am, if you will introduce yourself.
I'm Mary Leetsky. I live 2 addresses adjacent to the property being discussed. My concerns are visibility in that area. I regularly run the risk of getting rear-ended and hit coming out of my own driveway without a business 2 addresses down. There's no clear plan, there's no clear explanation, and there's not a good line of communication with this individual to get that information. My concerns are the obvious nature of having an eyesore develop within 100 feet of my address. The maintenance of that building itself. It does not appear to have utilities at this time. It appears at different intervals to have 2 different addresses, which is confusing and concerning. And those are my concerns. I'm very much opposed to this being zoned anything other than what it is right now, regardless of whether it is known as a church or otherwise.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. If you will, introduce yourself.
Gail Miller, 224 Leon Ranch Road. I live across the road from the church. And according to Bristol, Tennessee Essential Services, there has not been power at the church since May. So I don't think anyone's living.
Jump up after him, if that's all right.
Okay, thanks.
Jerry Miller, I live at 224 VR Ridge Road, and I oppose this completely. Oppose.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
My name is Charlotte Russo. I live at 1472 Bristol Gabbins Highway, directly across from this church, and I oppose any commercial development in my residential neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Anyone else? Ma'am?
My name is Terry Talbert. I live at 1181 VI Ranch Road. I too have 3 generations of family that's lived there. I remember when I was much younger, where the roads come together there at the V, there was constant wrecks till the 4-lane went through. And then when the 4-lane went through, it made it, there was very few wrecks. She's right, we don't have any idea what's going in there. If there is additional traffic, I'm afraid we're going to be where we were a couple of generations ago, where that V comes together. Very much opposed to this, and I would appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Does anyone else from the public wish to address amendment number 4? Ma'am?
My name is Lisa Malone. I grew up on 399 VI Ranch Road, and my great-grandparents, the Fry family, were the original owners of the church property, and they donated it as set aside for the Lord's use, and I don't think they ever intended it to become a business, and I'm very much opposed to this zone.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Anyone else? Because when I recognize the property owner, I'm going to allow him the final word on the zoning, then I'm going to recognize Mr. Mead one more time. There won't be any more, can't be any back and forth debates between Mr. Castle and the public. Mr. Castle, if you will, sir.
To address the first one, where the lady had the picture of the cross in a pile of rust and trash and stuff that I accumulated over the last 3 months cleaning up around the church. And the crosses was broken, rotten, and there was no benefit now. They would and I offered them to a fellow by the name of Hunter, he's a preacher out there. He come by one day and asked if he could have them between crossings, and I told him he could, but he never come and got them. And then we put them up against the building there for months, and I called him again. But anyhow, I tried to do right by the neighborhood. I cleaned that place up, and I spent hours and hours. And there's bushes and trees growing up, vines growing up the brick walls, the windows, and I'm trying to be a good neighbor. Now, there's another thing about, they say you ain't no electricity there. They ain't. Man, if you ever get involved in three-phase and you die and leave it for your heirs to settle, you better be prepared for your heirs to pay out union. And I worked with George Williams for the last 6 months trying to get three-phase power agreement wrote up so I could afford to pay it. And it went from $650 down to $500, and then he offered me some other kind of deal that was ridiculous. And I just talked to George. I said, I'll just put some antifreeze in the pipes and the toilets and hope for the best. And if I have to fix it in the spring, I'll fix it. But I've got an investment there that time is not going to help. Change is what's going to have to take place in that area of the county. And if the commission doesn't have to agree with everybody in the county, the commission can do what it wants to do, even though the city voted it down and the neighbors voted it down. You guys are the instrument of change. And I agree with him 100%. It's not a good situation where the road is and how it affects traffic. Some people stop for the stop signs, some don't. Some people, you look out and you go on, and you go on. And I've been out there since February working and doing, and there may have been 2, maybe 3 accidents. One that I seen myself, and then the other 2 I heard about. So it's going to happen in any neighborhood. Anywhere that you develop something, roads have to be fixed. And roads have to be widened, and the county gets, in the state, had to pay for their right of way for year 421 here. Now the county's got this 335, where Bristol Caverns is located, and Shelby Walker was the mayor, tentative mayor of Holston Valley out there. He owned all kinds of houses on both sides. And when I first bought this piece of property, people thought I was stupid. And I probably was stupid because that place out there, was all shacks and stuff like that. And over the years, it's cleaned up a whole lot. It's done good. The county people are living and they're doing better because they're making more money because of change. I mean, if things don't change, they stay like they are, they're stagnant. So all I'm asking for is it be zoned some way that I can read something out of it. I just can't keep paying it for people to have a nice place to ride their motorcycles and women can pay in their yards a mile away or half a mile away. I'm right there where I'm at. My welfare is worth some consideration. And also to Miss Miller here, she's known me and I've known her since 1990. And I had a trailer park there, right across in front of it. But I tried to do right by it. They wouldn't put it. I didn't want to start a big trailer park, so I had 50-foot road frontage to put 2 trailers on one lot. That was years ago. Now I think you've changed that zone to you can't do it. But she's aware of what kind of neighbor I was, and there was dope all the time out there. So I sold the 2 trailers, 2 double wide trailers, and didn't put nothing on the back of them. And it seemed like things got better for the neighborhood. And I think I've been a good neighbor. And to answer your question, you know, a little bit more there, I ain't spend the night in there. And I got a home on 11W. Can't even remember where my home was. On 11W. And that's where I spend my nights. Gotta go out there to get my mail, and I mow the yard, and I clean the place up, pick up the beer cans. It's in the front of the yard, you know, or on the Ranch Road. People are gonna be people regardless of how good you try to make them. People are gonna be people. And change is what helps things like that. And I think Sullivan County could invest in a road to fix it there.
Okay, sir, we've strayed a great deal from the actual purpose of the amendments and the zoning.
Okay, let me address this other thing.
Well, you need to wrap it up in the next few statements, because we need to, if you have something you'd like to say specifically about the zoning,
Okay.
that would be very helpful. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion for a vote.
Okay, one other thing. What Bristol voted is the way they voted. They kept telling me, look, they can vote the way they want to vote. They don't have to go by our recommendations. And I just ask this commissioners to think about if they owned it. If you had, not with somebody 50 years ago owned it, your grandpa, but think about what you're doing to me right now. And I thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here. Mr. Mead, do you have anything you wish to add at the end?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Hayes.
Luke, is this spot zoning?
Could be considered.
Is spot zoning highly frowned upon and included to be illegal?
Yes, sir. It is.
Anyone else seek recognition from the commission? Seeing none, when the board opens, please cast your vote on amendment number 4, requirement 12 votes for passage. Has every member voted? Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk.
19 no, 4 absent, 1 seat vacant.
Having failed to receive a necessary majority for passage, amendment number 4 fails. That concludes public hearing on the zoning amendments. Without objection, public hearing is closed, and we're back on the regular calendar of the regularly scheduled work session of the Sullivan County Commission, November 13, 2025. Mr. Mead, Commissioner Vanover requests you in well before we proceed.
Before you leave, would you address an issue that's going to come before us probably next week about the data centers, and if Mr. Parker's here, give us a little information about that?
Yeah, absolutely. In what capacity would you like me to speak on? Yeah, so obviously not an environmental expert by any means, but from all of the research that we've done and everything that we can tell, they're highly impactful on the utility grid for the most part. I believe it's expected that they're going to, in the next, by 2030, you have somewhere between 7 to 9% of the total energy grid in the U.S., which is pretty substantial. But the thing with them is they're not going anywhere. Most of our infrastructure, the way we live our day-to-day lives, is based around them, and it's only going to continue with the proliferation of AI and more online than we are with crypto mining, Bitcoin, I'm sure you all are familiar with. They all kind of fall into the same category of high demand, high energy usage zoning. So we're doing some research right now to hopefully come up with a new PMD3 district, planning manufacturing district, that would give the planning commission quite a bit of control over how these came online and very specifically where they can go. Obviously, we'd be looking to keep them as far away from residential and honestly general commercial as we could. Industrial parks and interior to industrial parks with some transitional zoning would probably be best.
Is Michael Parker here?
No, but what I do?
Yeah, that'd be good. Thank you, Mr. Reed.
Would you?
Commissioner Van.
Thank you, Clay, for being here. But like I said, next week, there'll probably be some talk about zoning for data centers. And I think before this commission can make a good decision, that we need to know a little bit more about the data centers and how they should be zoned or not zoned, or if they should be allowed or not allowed. So I think just if you could just provide some information about the data centers in general.
Coming up with a special zone to do this, and I know in speaking to Commissioner Means a little while ago about the intent of moratorium to get this straight and hold up, I'm pretty fine with that. We are not currently working on any data center projects in the county, so holding up until this new zoning is done would not impact any project we're working negatively in any way. I haven't looked over as thoroughly as Michael Parker has, but I did look at the draft of what the planning department is working on now, and I think they're going on the right path. I mean, the big thing is with cryptocurrency is the constant buzzing noise that bothers residential areas that it's near. And by creating this zone to ensure that it's surrounded by industrial, I think you would take care of that problem. And there's a lot of details we'd be happy as always to work with your staff and with the commission on to get to it. I think there is a place for data centers, and there are data centers, as Luke said, there are data centers, and that covers a wide gamut of things. But, you know, there are some really good projects that fall under that category. There's a Google operation in North Carolina. I know in my former job before I came up here in Gallatin, there's a Meta data center that's a great corporate citizen, and we see what Memphis has done is rebranding itself as the Digital Delta and working with Elon Musk and bringing in a lot of projects that would fall under that category of data center. They are a tremendous drain on the power companies. They use a lot of electricity. But in working with TVA throughout the county, you know, a data center's not going to go where there's not significant infrastructure. And nor is it would be up to the power company. It would be up to TVA to decide on a case-by-case basis. Is the project worth making the infrastructure investment? And they make that quite prudently and thoughtfully. So again, the great thing about data centers are not the job creation, because the jobs are normally not as the high number of jobs as a typical manufacturing project is, but they are always, almost always, very high-paying jobs. They're great jobs, very specialized. And again, we talk about bringing in jobs to help our kids. There are kids right now out studying all this A1 technology and jobs that we haven't even imagined into existence yet. And I would want us to put a stop on our ability to find those jobs so they don't have to go to Memphis if they want to work in those fields. But I think you're taking a very smart, prudent, well-thought-out approach to it. And a temporary moratorium on these projects while we work this out, I think is a very wise step to take.
I recognize Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you, Clay. I'd like to ask, can you distinguish, give us some information between the cryptocurrency and the data mining? So is there one that requires more energy and we want to definitely probably stay away from? Or is there a distinction you can make there?
I'll look at more of what's going on and if there's a public nuisance to the operations. The energy, again, data centers, every project is different, and they will come in with their data, with their power requirements, and we just deal with those with our power company partners on a case-by-case basis. I mean, each one comes down to, is the juice worth the squeeze? Will the investment be made? Can we meet the infrastructure needs? And is it worth the investment that it requires to meet those needs? There are very few sites in the county that could take a data center right now and probably, it would be challenging to find a site that would work for a data center now. And with what your staff is working on, it will become even more challenging, but rightfully so, because you do want to keep these operations separate from your residential development.
So one more follow-up question on that. So on cryptocurrency, those actually would employ fewer people, correct?
Fewer people in that, and usually the requirement on the jobs doesn't demand the salaries. It's like an AI operation.
But the data mining jobs, they would be as many as what, 50? 40 to 50? Is that what?
It could be 50. I mean, there are several that get over 100. I mean, it depends on the scope of the project. But yes, they could be 50 or more.
And what would the potential tax that the county?
Well, and look at, so again, the property tax, I'm glad Commissioner Harvey to bring that up, that's one of the big pluses to data centers is it's very expensive to have them in both the real property and the building, and even more so in the personal property in the equipment inside. And in just looking around at some of those, you're looking at a typical 400,000 square foot facility, for example, that require about 40, 75 acres to build. You're probably looking at $125 million in real property and probably $275 in personal property tax and the equipment. So you're looking at about $800,000 annually in taxes on just the real property. And in the first year, before you get into depreciation, that would be $1.2 million and probably go down around a little over $250,000, even for every year after the 7 years, even at fully depreciated equipment. So it's significant to the tax rolls, some of these projects that are out there. And there aren't, and we try, there are a lot of projects out there and they keep coming, but their demands are very specific and they are very limited in where they can go to get the infrastructure needed, to get the land and the buffer. Most companies want the buffer just the same as residents would. They don't want the headaches of that either. But there are some that don't care as much, and that's all of our jobs is to protect our citizens from those.
Okay, this is my last question. So if we put a moratorium on it of 6 months, would that help economic development opportunities as opposed to just saying temporary, or would that cause you any problems with potentially getting people interested in coming in the area if we had something like that?
Well, I think this probably, and just talking to everyone, I think everyone anticipates it to only take a few months. But I do think, that is a good suggestion though. Even if it went out a little further than that, it wouldn't be. I don't think you ought to leave it open-ended, because if it never gets resolved and then it could cost us an opportunity. And it could likely be that opportunity that we never know about, because they do the research, they see, well, this county doesn't even allow any data center projects, and we could miss out on opportunity and never know about it. So I do think that if you put a time limit on it, it would be useful. Nobody's going to sneeze at seeing that we're talking about this and getting the zoning and getting the particulars all in order before we move forward. And it may take 6 months, 9 months, whatever it takes, but putting that on there would be very helpful.
Thank you.
Mr. Means, you're still connected.
I just wanted to thank you so much, Clay, for coming out here. Just for some information for the commission regarding the data centers, 1 megawatt of energy that these centers can use is the equivalent of 15,000 homes. So that's the energy that it uses. And also they have to use a mass amount of water to cool it down. So that's how those things are used too. So there's just been some conversations going on, which is why Commissioner Vanover asked Clay to come, and appreciate that, and appreciate you all for talking. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
You're welcome.
Always good to see you.
Yeah, likewise, thank you.
Next order of business is a public comment on agenda and non-agenda related items. I brought the non-agenda related items up. Was there anyone that wished to sign up for public comment on agenda related or non-agenda related items? Was there anyone at all? Keeping with tradition, I'll still read the rules of public comment even though we only have one person signed up. Each speaker is requested to state their name and address for the clerk's electronic record. Though this is not question and answer, clarifying questions may be permitted. No speaker can transfer or yield time to another speaker. Each speaker will be allotted 3 minutes uninterrupted and is asked to direct all comments to the chair of the body and not the members. At the end of the 3 minutes, I'll let you know and ask that you make a final statement. For public comment, recognize our own Commissioner Sam Jones.
Sam Jones, 6329 Heatherwood Lane, Kingsport, Tennessee, and I am addressing the body, not just the chairman. How many of you, I think Dwight and Darlene may be the only ones that know about Public Chapter 1101 that was passed in 1998? You need to know about this. This designated every piece of property in the state of Tennessee, every square inch of it, is either going to be planned growth area, rural area, or urban growth boundary. Now within those, when that passed the state legislature, all counties and municipalities were required to have a committee appointed, including the mayors of each the counties, called county executive back then, the mayors of each city, and other representatives. And that coordinating committee had public hearings, had meetings. We attended those, and we came up with a plan for Sullivan County. In those, and the reason I'm bringing this to you, I've laid on your desk, we got a request from Loudoun County, and it was asked to be brought to all the county commissions across the state. I'm bringing it to us, that we go back and look at this. It was planned for a 20-year growth plan to, according to the law. We had a lot of issues going on and lawsuits and a lot of problems. We had some issues in Sullivan County over annexation issues, and that's what this was all about. They had hoped in the state legislature to eliminate some of those issues. But actually, and if you'll read in the letter from Loudoun County, you will see that it has actually intensified problems, especially an amendment. In 2014, an amendment effectively eliminated cities' right to forcibly annex any property and could only annex property entirely within their urban growth boundary by request or permission of the property owner. In 2017, a new amendment now permits cities to annex property non-contiguous to the current city limit as long as it was in the urban growth boundary. They didn't have to have permission. That's the way the law is today. And it has caused some, across the state,
That's three.
what?
That's three. If you sign up here in public comment, I still hold commissioners for 3 minutes. So
Well,
if you make your final statements, and I'll recognize you at the end of the meeting too, take as long as you need.
what you need to know is what's going on with this and some issues that are happening. I think we need to look at this more in depth today or in the future, have some time to look at it.
Thank you, sir.
Now, my second, I have two.
What do you mean you have two?
I have 2 issues to speak to. That's another 3 minutes.
Look at these rules again. You're trying to yield time to yourself?
Well,
Do you wish to address us unlimited at the end of the meeting? I think that'd be our best, because if I were to let somebody else come up, I couldn't give them 5
well,
minutes.
I'll go to my desk and speak.
At the end of the meeting. Anyone else seek recognition for public comment? Without objection, the public comment portion of the agenda is closed. We're back on our regular calendar. Don't have any old business. Under new business, recognize Commissioner Glover on item number 1.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This resolution is to approve the transfer of a 1998 Chevrolet Cheyenne vehicle to the Les City Public Works Department. I'm not going to read it, but therefore it be resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Sullivan County, assembled in regular session, hereby approves this transfer to the City of Bluff City Department of Public. The following vehicles: a 1998 Chevrolet Cheyenne truck, 5-speed manual, 5.L liter, as a VIN number. Used to be a service truck with the approximately 173,118 miles. Tag be removed and the insurance will be removed from the county maintenance inventory after this transfer is complete. This resolution is to authorize Sullivan County purchasing agent to transfer title of this vehicle at no cost to the county.
You've heard the explanation on item number 1. The floor is open for discussion on item number 1. Anyone seek recognition?
Any objection, putting it on consent for next week?
Sponsor moves consent calendar for item number 1. Any objection? Without objection, item number 1 is placed on consent calendar. Without objection, recognize Commissioner Locke on item number 2.
Thank you, Chair. This resolution's adopt a redevelopment plan and tax increment financing amendment for the downtown Kingsport district of Dobbins Taylor Warehouse. I do have Stephen Bauer here. If he wants to come on up.
You've heard the explanation on item number 2. The floor is open for discussion. Mr. Bauer is here. If anyone has any questions for him after he makes his comments, I'll be glad to recognize you. Mr. Bauer.
Thank you, sir, and thank you all for having me. I'll be brief. I do have a presentation that I plan on bringing next week if time permits. But this is a tax increment finance project for Dobbins Taylor Warehouse. If anybody's not familiar with that building, it's downtown Kingsport, over 100 years old. directly across from the Kingsport Chamber Building in Food City. It is in the downtown redevelopment district, making it eligible for tax increment financing. We are requesting a TIF amount of $1.3 million over 25 years with a 5% holdback. That holdback does represent new revenue that comes to the city and county. With all of our TIFs, it does not abate any of the existing revenue. The redevelopment plan, and Mr. Osborne printed off the amendment, it goes into detail, but it will be a 60-room boutique hotel. That will include bar, restaurant, event space. The total square footage existing is about 108,000. It will go to about 60. We did have control of that property through our Kingsport Economic Development Board through the long-term lease. Recently, KDB, the Economic Development Board, voted last week to approve all aspects of this project. It is, the full details are very complicated. They had about 9 action items that we went through thoroughly. The Housing Authority voted to approve the tax increment financing October 27th, and then Kingsport BMA and this body will hear that next week. I have all the details and economic impact numbers as well. If anybody wants those, I plan on sharing those next week in that presentation. But with that, we'll open it up for any preliminary questions.
Anyone seek recognition?
I think the county's part on this 1.3, is that right?
So 1.3 is the total amount. Now with the new tax rates, it's about half city, half county, but 1.3 is the total.
We'll wait for your presentation for next week.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you for being here. Without objection, recognize Commissioner Vanover on item number 3.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 3 is a resolution recognizing the receipt of reimbursement from Ballot Health for professional development, training, and administration of the Ballot Health Academy by teachers of Sullivan County Schools. It's simply accepting the reimbursement for training, professional development for our teachers for the Ballot Academy. And if there's no objection, I'd like to ask to put it on consent.
You've heard the explanation on item number 3. The floor is open for discussion on item number 3. The sponsor moves consent calendar for item number 3. Is there any objection to item number 3 being placed on consent calendar? Without objection, item number 3 is placed on consent calendar. Without objection, I recognize Commissioner Jones on item number 4.
This is a resolution from the school system to just move some money around in their contracted services, take care of some needs that they have where they've gone to a third-party contract for mowing and lawn maintenance in their properties. So no new money, just moving it around to pay the bills that they have accumulated in that. And if there's no objections, I would put it on consent.
You've heard the explanation on item number 4. The floor is open for discussion on item number 4. The sponsor moves consent calendar. Is there any objection to item number 4 being placed on consent calendar? Recognize Commissioner Glover.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As I'm reading this, whereas the Board of Education has determined that certain maintenance personnel positions are no longer necessary, allowing for liquidation of these positions. Well, if that money's allocated for the maintenance personnel, well, we've talked about this in the past about trying to help the support staff get some raises and get to a level that they need. Instead of moving that money into something else, why don't they take that money and divide that amongst the support staff personnel that they've got?
Well, I think you've got positions that are no longer being filled because they're contracting the mowing. They're not mowing the properties. They've done a contract, determined that cost of equipment, mowers, updating them, it was cheaper to contract the mowing, and it came about the money to do it from the liquidation of positions that were eliminated, I think, through attrition. So the money was still there. and now they can use it to pay this. They're not having to pay benefits or anything else, not having to buy equipment, maintain it.
Commissioner Glover, you're ready, sir.
There's gonna be a lot of money talked about for that school department next little bit.
I'm sure.
And then, you know, things like this right here, moving around, putting in contracted services, I think everybody in here knows what happens when you put it in contracted services. You can spend it anywhere, anyway, anytime you want to, without any approval, so, I'm not gonna support putting it on consent.
Well, we'll have them waiver rules.
Sponsor rolls item number 4 to next week's calendar where he will present it on waiver of rules. Oh, excuse me, you just popped up there. Commissioner King, excuse me.
Well, they're paying the contractor now. What's gonna happen to that money?
As I understand, in order to keep the contract going, they had to find some money for this, coming for the continual payment of that.
They're gonna take money from the eliminating these positions and put up there to pay the mowing service. But there's money already in the line item right there.
But it has to go from 100 and 200 to 300. You can't just arbitrarily take money and do it. It comes in here all the time of moving money around. So they're not having to pay benefits, that's 80,000 of it. These are contracted employees.
But that money that they was using to pay the contractor, what are they gonna do with that money?
This is the money, they're needing to pay it now. That's what my understanding is.
That don't add up to me.
I don't have anybody, I don't think, in the school system here tonight to answer that, but we'll have those answers for you next Thursday. I can't answer that to you right now.
Well,
We'll get it Thursday.
we passed the budget and that money was allocated.
It was in the budget in a line item.
Right.
Right,
So it's there.
right.
So you're taking this money over here and putting it up here, then what are you gonna do when you move that money?
Well, like I said, Dwight, we will have somebody here Thursday to answer that question. I'm not knowledgeable. I'm not on the school board. I'm not in the maintenance department. But we'll have somebody here that is knowledgeable to answer your question.
All right. Mr. Love.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. They stand up here and say they don't have any money to pay these support staff and maintenance personnel. They don't have any money to pay them. Well, right here's proof that they had money in there to pay them. Right there's proof that there was money in there to pay them. And now they're wanting to move it somewhere else. That's the problem I've got with that department. I'm sorry. I mean, it's every single time we turn around. And you got people over there that's working their hind ends off, trying to raise their families right now, not getting hardly anything for what they're doing. And I think that's a kick in the face to them when you take this money and put it in a contracted mowing service that's already got the money in the budget for that. It was passed. When the school department put their budget into the budget committee, that money was in there to pay for the mowing services. Barrett Mowing Services, I think, are the ones that's doing it, and I think it's $300,000 or $400,000 a year or something like that. It's pretty expensive, and I'm sure the money was already there earmarked for that. But I'm sorry, I want somebody here next week, Mr. Carter or somebody, to explain this to us. We need to quit moving this money around and putting it in places where we don't have no say so. That's the reason it's a mess it's in now.
Commissioner Horn.
Thank you, Chair. Just from looking at this, it looks to me like the positions that probably were no longer there are the ones that were mowing. And like you said, hopefully somebody will be here Thursday that can answer these questions, so we're not arguing about something we don't know to argue about. But that's what it looks like to me, is that people that were mowing the schools are no longer there, so therefore they're moving the money. And probably came up short, or whatever the case may be, because as we all know, this season has been quite different than those in the past. And maybe there was extra mows that need that money paid for, and that's why we're asking to move it. But yeah, definitely, hopefully somebody will be here Thursday that can answer those questions, so we don't argue about something. Get the cart before the horse.
I know, we move money all the time to take care of services, and, you know, it's just this department gets targeted. But we'll have it, waiver approvals next week. Thank you.
Sponsor rolls item number 4 to next week's calendar. Without objection, recognize Commissioner Vanover on item number 5.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I read item 5, I'd like to tell everyone why I'm doing this resolution. I was asked to do it by someone in my district that's a veteran that had a veteran friend to commit suicide. And with Veterans Day being this month, he wants to recognize a service to hopefully try to prevent more veteran suicide in the future. So it's just for recognition purposes. He'll be here next week to hopefully read it himself and talk more about it. But item 5 is a resolution to recognize the American Legion's Be the One program and to partner with local American Legion posts in raising public awareness of the program's mission to end veteran suicides and the 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline. Further be it resolved, the Sullivan County Commission urges every county government, entity, and private organizations to promote the 988 Suicide Prevention Hotline and encourage all to host annual suicide prevention training. Like I said, this veteran will be here next week to talk more about it. This resolution is just to bring awareness to veteran suicide and hopefully means to try to prevent that. So with that, I'd like to move it to next week's calendar.
You've heard the explanation on item number 5. The floor is open for discussion on item number 5. Sponsor moves item number 5 be rolled to next week's regular calendar where you'll present it on waiver of rules. Anyone seek recognition? Without objection, item number 5 is rolled to next week's calendar. And it looks like that takes us to the end of our resolution calendar. Before I recognize anyone for announcements, I recognize Commissioner Jones right after this. Next week, we're just going to let everyone know that next week, in honor of Veterans Day, we're going to have the Westridge ROTC here next week in place of our normal Pledge of Allegiance. We'll do the pledge nonetheless, but they're going to be here for presentation of colors in recognition of Veterans Day month, so to say. And also Commissioner Stidham's minister will be here next week to lead us in our invocation. And if someone has a veteran in their community that they would like to lead us in our pledge, let me know. I'll put them on the calendar for any meeting you wish. And if you have a minister in your community that you'd like to have come up and be our minister today, I'd like to include them as well. Recognize Commissioner Jones.
I thought what the handout I put on the table, the last paragraph, the larger paragraph, I guess next to last, they're asking their legislators, Lowell, Russell, Monty Fritz, and Randy McNally, to, at the very least, review Public Chapter 1101 and see if they can amend it to give counties a greater voice in all annexations by requiring county approval for annexations, or at best completely repeal this law. We as a county get our hands tied, and Luke mentions this law on occasion, or he mentioned it tonight, urban growth boundary, planned growth area. So it's something we deal with that most of you, like I said, I don't know if you've ever seen that law. And what we did, we spent a lot of time on it, didn't we, Dwight? 2 years in here from the time the law passed until we had an agreement with the cities in Sullivan County. So it's a pretty important thing. Second thing I wanted to mention, we got invited, some of us that, commissioners in the area and some of the school board members there, Tri-City Airport Quarry. If you're leaving the airport going out to 81, you know there's a quarry on the right. And that started in 1971 with American Limestone. It was sold, in 2002, they sold it to Rinker Materials. Then in 2007, they sold it to CEMEX. They took over the Rinker Group. That's Mexican Cement is who it is. Then, after the takeover, they sold it to Ready Mix out of Birmingham. Then it was sold, Ready Mix sold it to a group out of California. And in 17, Blue Water Industry out of Jacksonville bought that quarry. So it's gone through some ownerships. In 22 and 23, Blue Water purchased from the Kingsport Industrial Development Board property along the south side of Centenary Road. Everything had been on the north side, the big quarry. And that's out here's where we have our, the county has a asphalt plant. The people at the that went to the hearing in 2023, and because it was city-owned property, the city, it was held, the industrial board in the city had it, and they were told, the neighbors out there, oh, it'll be 50 years, nothing will happen. Well, 2024, Martin Marietta bought Blue Water. And now they're a nationwide organization, but this division's out of Raleigh. They had a hearing, public hearing, they were required to do that. And Zane and I were there. Was anybody else in the room? Anyway, they have bought a piece of property, and if you're familiar with Airport Acres, that's what we call it, the subdivision across from the airport. This piece of property goes right up to their backyard property line. And we thought we would have a vote. I'm just telling you, we don't. The BMA in Kingsport, because it's Kingsport owned property that was sold. But these are people that Travis and I represent, and I'm afraid some people's gonna have some nervous breakdowns over this. Because blasting is going to take place right in their backyards. And it's not that far to Holston Elementary School. It's just at the edge of the subdivision. Actually goes up beside the subdivision. You know, they told us everything they would do and how they'd monitor it and everything, but one of the guys was also saying, oh, look at these airplanes, look at the contrails they're leaving, they're spreading, flying over us and spreading chemicals, and I'm thinking, good Lord, that's who y'all got here to represent you. But we don't have a vote on it, but it's in the county, and to me, part of it goes back to the urban growth boundary law that was passed in '98. And we're way past, this was intended to be 20 years. Well, we're, 27 past it now, 28. So there's a lot of things going on in the county, and I think we as commissioners, we are the legislative body. We need to be educated and prepared for what may be coming down the road. And there's other issues that are big issues. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Encourage you to learn all you can. Thank you.
Commissioner Iverson.
Got us something about our church just up the road, but I hope they don't steal any of the thunder away from the Sullivan County employees. But the sheet that we have on the table in front of you, it's fantastic. What Chris Davis and Sherry DeVault did, they got together with Second Harvest and they really worked with them, showing their heart. So they're really trying to help the community. So if somebody else wants to speak about that, that's fantastic. But if not, I didn't want to not call those out because they really, really did a lot. But Our church actually joined with Second Harvest Food Bank. We're starting it next month, doing the first Saturday of every month. And that's how I even found out that they were getting involved with it, because I was talking to Second Harvest folks. So shout out to them for all their hard work, but we're the only church in Blumpville that has Second Harvest Food Bank, and we're gonna start doing the food pantry first Saturday of the month. So it's if you hear anybody needing food, give them my number. We'll help them out. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Harrison. Commissioner Harvey.
We'd like to introduce Dr. Barry Hopper to you this evening. Dr. Hopper, if you want to stand up, please. I want to read a little bit of information about Dr. Hopper. Dr. Hopper has been a resident of Sullivan County for 10 years and a resident of Bristol District 2 for 34 years. He began his private practice of dentistry in 1972 and practiced for 28 years until selling his practice. When the Sullivan County Health Department established the School Dental Prevention Program, Dr. Hopper became the director for 16 years. He successfully directed this program. He also has worked at Friends in Need, which is a community health clinic and dentistry, and provided dental care to those in need. He answered his country's calling by volunteering in dental school, by serving in the United States Air Force, and was deployed to Vietnam. He's traveled extensively, volunteered as a missionary, served at RAM clinics, and volunteered in various community capacities. He has 3 children. His daughter is in South Carolina National Guard and has been deployed twice. Older son is an engineer in the nuclear division of TVA. His brother is in real estate. His other son is in real estate in Manhattan, New York. Dr. Hopper has 10 grandchildren, and the 2 oldest grandchildren have recently received their commissions in the United States Navy. Dr. Hopper feels like he can benefit the community and appreciates the opportunity to serve again his District 2 and the residents of Sullivan County.
Commissioner Aker, if you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you, Chairman. As you all know, Dr. Hopper answered the call last time. We had apparently we're the AAA team to City Council in Bristol. So, and so when Michelle and I were talking about trying to find someone that had some experience, because we do have almost just under a year. We've got a good budget season coming up, and so it was nice to talk to Dr. Hopper again, see if he'd come back up for us, pull him back up from single A, because he's just doing some board and charity work right now, and as he said, it gives him something to do a little bit. So I hope next week y'all will support Cheryl and I, and we'll nominate Dr. Hopper to take the seat of Matt Slagle.
Dr. Hopper, if you'd like to share a few words with us, we're happy to hear from you, sir.
Well, thank you. I will keep my comments brief because this has been a relatively long session, and it's, I can tell that guys and ladies are getting a little bit weary. So just to quickly say that I appreciate this opportunity again. I'm going to be seeing some, don't want to say old faces, but former faces, and I'd like to have the opportunity to meet the new individuals on the commission. You all have done an outstanding job. When I was previously part of this organization, which represents the community as representatives of your district in such a way that the business of this community can proceed with calmness, coolness, cooperation, compromise, and your attention to the needs of this community is outstanding. And I'm very fortunate to be a part of this and grateful for this opportunity. So in the event that I am selected, I will do my best to represent my District 2 and be an active and participating member of this commission. Thank you.
And if I may add, Dr. Hopper, Commissioner Hopper, when he left the commission his last day here, he presented Mayor Venable with, it says, the meeting modulator. But since I've been chair, I have affectionately referred to it as the hopper. So while you were doing your comments, I didn't set the hopper, but after next week, this will be in full use.
Outstanding. I'm glad I left something of
This will
memory.
be here for the next 100 years, I hope.
Outstanding. Well, thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Vanover.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, Dr. Hopper. Glad to have you back. I know you do a great job. Just wanted to mention the paper on your desk. Our county employees have organized a food drive. Everyone can participate. All the dates are in there. Mark's already mentioned it. We've got a lot of kind people involved, it seems like. So if you could participate, everything's on the sheet. So please do so. Thank you. Good night.
Anyone else seek recognition? I actually had a question for anyone from District 5 about the Ag Center. What's going on there this month? Do you have any bull riding or anything going on?
Saturday night, first one for the fall session.
So it starts Saturday?
Starts Saturday night.
Thank you.
Yeah, we got a bull reserved for you.
Deputy Chair? He's not qualified?
No, forget him. He's a bull.
Commissioner Vanover needs to stay healthy, so we're not going to put him in that spot. So. Anyone else seek recognition? Thank you, sir. Motion to adjourn by Commissioner Akers, second by Commissioner Couch. All in favor? Stand adjourned to Thursday next. Thank you all very much.
Maybe.